Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone who's joining in. And welcome to the third session of Graduate's Guide to the Job Market with our special speaker, Ms. Yusra Smail, an online event organized by BioPetro and Arab Guru. My name is Sarah Kilal. I am a graduate petroleum geophysicist from the University of Boumardès, Algeria, and I will be your moderator for today's session. Previously, we have seen two enriching sessions about how to get a job in a competitive market and how to write a winning CV. Today, Ms. Yusra will be given valuable information and tips on how to prepare for a job interview. So before we start, please let me introduce our guest for today, a bright icon who contributed widely not only in the job market but in the society as well, Ms. Yusra Smail. Ms. Yusra Smail is the HR manager in one of the most promising tech companies in MENA region and USA. With more than 10 years of experience in diverse industries, she holds an MBA in global management from Islaska University in Paris. In addition to that, Ms. Yusra is a certified trainer and coach. She was able to manage and train many HR persons throughout her successful path. Besides all that, she is one of the most active people standing up against bullying, helping the society to function properly. A note to our participants, please don't forget to drop your questions in the Q&A section below, so Miss Yusra will be able to answer them. And now, with no further ado, let's give a warm welcome to Miss Yusra Ismail. It is such an honor to having you again with us today, and the mic is yours. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Sarah, for this warm introduction. And let me welcome everybody who's attending with us this third session. And guys, let me tell you that now we are on the third stop on our journey to secure a job for yourself. We started from the beginning where you were just undergraduate and how you are preparing yourself for different types of job markets. To the next step that was last week about how to prepare and present yourself well at a CV. And today we are on the third station or stop regarding how to present yourself in the interview. So you have successfully passed through the filtering phase and the screening phase for the CV. You stood out, you grabbed the attention of the HR person, and he called you for an interview, and now you have an interview date and time. So today's journey will be divided into three parts. The first part is what to do before going to the interview. The second part is what to do during the interview. And the last part is what's after that, what's after you leaving the interview. So let's start by the first section. Now you have a time and a date, and how are you going to get ready for this interview? First thing, you need to go back and read very, very thoroughly anything related to the company itself. Most companies will have websites or Facebook pages where they list their values, some of the news and updates regarding their latest activities, and of course, the job itself, the job description or the job responsibilities. Okay, so before the interview, you have to do your homework, to search very, very well about the job, because during the interview, you will be asked questions. All of the questions will be revolving around, and this is what the interviewer will have in mind, to match between your values, your skills, your experience, and the job vacancy requested or needed in the company. So your homework will be to match between the two, and to get ready with answers for the most questions that is to be asked during the HR interview, and to get ready, because most of people, when they are suddenly asked a question and they don't have a prepared answer in mind, they just give out any answer. and we don't want to do this. We need to be well prepared. So as I was telling you, the first thing is to search the company very, very well, to make sure that you understand the company and the values and the job description. And most of the HR people will be writing down the competencies needed for the job. So let's say, for example, the competency of having a very good communication skills is requested in this job. You have to be ready to answer a question about communication skills. And let me give you like a sneak peek of the type of questions that we will handle later on, and how to answer it, because you need to get a notebook and write down answers very organized. Um, let's say there is a question and it's called, or I'm sorry, it's an interview called a competency-based interview. Usually in this interview, you are asked to give situations or to give like stories about your past experience that's reflecting this competency. For example, one of the questions will be like, tell me a time when you were handling a very difficult situation and how did you handle it through good communication. Give me an example of that and tell me a story from your past experience. In order to answer this question very well, you need to prepare it on a way called a STAR. A STAR stands for situation, the like the problem, and what did you do, and the result. So you have to tell the story in a very orderly manner by giving the situation. For example, we had a problem at work when we had like a problem among the team, and now you're giving the situation. And this problem resulted that the team didn't want to cooperate together. And what was needed to happen is to make sure everybody is aligned and everybody is agreed to contribute together. Now, what I did as a good communicator is that, and you start telling what you did, the action that you did. For example, I held a meeting, talked to everybody, and made sure everybody no hard feelings among everybody. And the result is that we achieved very well as yes, exactly. Thank you, Sarah. And we achieved as a team, as a team all together, the target needed. And this was my success story regarding how I used good communication skills to solve a problem. And bear in mind that preparing for such answers, usually when you're telling a story, it's not only about one competency. So you have to be very accurate about what you are telling. The story I just told you, or the situation, it reflected different competencies: the communication skills, problem solving, negotiation, teamwork skills, leadership skills. So you have to do some effort in sitting down, grabbing a cup of coffee and thinking about different situations from your life, how they are reflecting good competencies and skills. And this is a very tricky thing related to life generally. When you are at any situation, you have to think before you take any action that later on you're going to say and tell about this like action you did. So you have to decide, what are you going to tell? Am I going to tell that, no, I just step aside and didn't do anything about this? This how you're going to handle usually your life situations? Or you want to tell that you were proactive, you took an initiative, you helped everybody. So and this is something a little bit deeper than just preparing for the interview. I'm asking you to be prepared at any situation throughout your life, to be ready when the moment comes and you have to tell about what you did. So this will help you to take more sound decisions at every situation. So now we read very well about the company. We matched between our values and the company's values. We matched and prepared all the competencies needed for the job, and we wrote very well coherent stories about it. Well, another tip is now you're going and you don't know what to wear. And it's very simple question that everybody like thinks on their own. So why don't you ask the HR person? Just ask them what is the dress code for the interview, and they will tell you, because you have to leave a good impression on everybody attending the interview. Maybe it's a panel interview. Just ask the HR person, do I have to dress like a very formal attire or casual or semi-casual? Just ask. And you have to go on time, like maybe 5 minutes earlier will be very good. And now you are in the interview. You have to have a very relaxed body language, because like you should help the interviewer, so the interviewer can help you um, back to have a relaxed interview. Now, let's handle some of the questions that are being asked during the interview. And I'll tell you the question and the reason behind it, and what is the interviewer is expecting to hear from you. One of the very well-known question that everybody asks is, tell me about yourself. And I need who are like attending this session to think with me and interact in the comments and tell me before I reveal why this question is asked. And usually people think it's a very generic question and give out a very generic answer irrelevant to anything. So just interact with me here in the comments and tell me, why do you think this question relates to, or why do interviewers ask this question in the very beginning of the interview? I'll wait for a minute for you to write down anything you have in mind related to this question. Okay, we have Yusuf here saying it relates to the way you talk about yourself. This is partially correct. Anybody else wanna like write any other opinions before I reveal why and how to answer this question? Okay. Okay, maybe to see how you think and describe yourself can be related also to your body language. Okay, okay, okay. Thank you, guys. They want to get to know you, your qualifications, and what values you will bring to the company. Okay, thank you, guys. Everything is correct, but let me tell you that this is a very powerful question. And why is it very powerful? Because usually all the questions during the interview will be led by the interviewer. He's going to be asking you a specific question and expecting an answer specifically. This question, it's very powerful. It's giving you the chance to lead the interview to, or this question specifically, to where you want to get the interviewer to think of you. Meaning, this question is a very generic question, and he's giving you, or she's giving you, the chance to tell how you are presenting yourself. For example, if I'm going to be asked this question, I'm going to tell you part of my story that's going to be grabbing your attention. And this is the point in the interview where you have to grab the attention of the interviewer. If you remember last session, we were talking about you need to grab the attention of the interviewer. And this is, during the interview, is where you grab the attention of the interviewer and get them hooked up. Meaning, you have to tell a story. Let me tell you that if I'm asked this question, I'm going to give you, tell me about yourself. I'm asked, okay, I am Yusra and I have a huge passion for psychology. I even started loving psychology since I was a very young girl. And I used to read huge books about psychology and go to school and practice it on my colleagues and teachers. So afterwards, when I got older during my high school, I used to go out and try to deal with people because I love people. I love to help them. I love to read their characters and apply psychology and apply psychology in helping people. So after that, during my high school, I went to work as an English trainer as an undergraduate, but I didn't know exactly that HR was the field for me to apply my love for psychology and helping people, because HR later on I'll realize that it's all about people development, which I love. During my faculty years, my college, I used to participate in different student activities where I as well been handling and dealing with people. And throughout all of these years, it wasn't clear to me that it is HR, but I knew exactly why do I like to help people. It's satisfying to me, and it's kind of an achievement when I see a person where like struggling maybe, and then I help them out. Now, after I graduated, I worked for a while in a telecommunication company, and it hit me, just hit me. I was doing a research, and it hit me that HR is the field for me. I have passion for people, helping them, developing them, dealing with them, reading their stories, and knowing about them. So I started in HR from scratch. I went for an intern at a company, and things got rolling till I got promoted throughout the years. I learned everything from scratch. I gained my master's degree, and now I'm doing a psychology degree in a university. Usually I can give more into such an answer, but this is a very brief version of it. I can talk up to 3 or 4 minutes just telling you about why am I here. And I didn't answer in a formal way. I answered in a very casual. I told you I got you into my mind, my story when I was younger. How was I thinking? I need you to think about this question as the way you are drawing a picture for yourself in front of the interviewer. Now, if I answer this question, the interviewer most probably will think, oh, I love how her spirit, I love how she loves people. HR usually should be people or a person who loves people and loves helping people, loves developing people. So, this question is yours. It's the powerful question that you can hook the interview and grab their attention and leave an impression. And you should answer in a way that's memorable. Like the interviewer usually gets answers like, my name is blah, blah. I'm graduated from faculty of blah, blah. And of course you relate to these answers, right? If anybody did interviews before, usually people answer it like this, very, very monotonous tone, and very like specific answers, very known. Okay, the interviewer can check the CV and read your name, read your faculty, can read these information. I need you to answer this question in a way that's attracting to the interviewer, and he knows you more as a person, as a human being. So if you have a story, an interesting story about why did you get into this field, you have to mention it at this question. Now, let me take you to the next question. Usually the next question will be, okay, tell me more about your experience and how did you get here? Like you're going to tell like chronological facts about your experience. And again, if you remember last time, we have said you have to focus more on achievements, more than just telling what you did. Like, for example, if I'm an HR person and I'm being interviewed for an HR position, if I'm asked, okay, tell me more about your experience, and a normal answer will be, okay, I have worked as an HR generalist in 2010, and I usually used to prepare the reports and do interviews. This is a very normal answer. A not a very normal answer that's going to be grabbing the attention of the interviewer will be, um, working as an HR generalist gave me the space and the opportunity to put the correct, perfect fit calibers in their jobs. And I made sure that I choose, along with the hiring manager, the perfect fit to enhance the performance of the department. And actually, I succeeded in hiring the position so and so in a very short time. This is part of my achievements, that I hired very quickly and it's not affecting the quality of the calibers. And later on, I got feedback from the managers that the performance of the department really escalated in a positive way, or increased in a positive way. This is a very brief example, and usually you have to be prepared with such dynamic answers to very ordinary questions. Going to another question, and it's one of the most tricky questions that you can be asked in an interview, and it's usually divided into two sections. Tell me about your positive sides or strengths, and tell me more about your weakness points. So again, I need you to interact with me in the comments here and tell me, what do you think the question related to? Okay, tell me about your strengths and weaknesses can be relevant to. Just give me like a couple of vibes, what you're thinking of it, if you have been asked this question before, and then I'll reveal the reason of the question and what is expected from you. I'll leave like a minute for you, everybody. If you want to share your input regarding this question, then I'll reveal the answer. I'm excited to know what you think about this question. Usually it takes more than a minute for your answers to come to in here. So I'll wait for 30 seconds and then I'm going to reveal the reason behind this question and how you're going to answer it smartly. Okay, for the weaknesses, it's important to show that you are taking actions toward improving yourself. Thank you, Sarah, very much. Every time your inputs are really perfect. Okay, isn't to just know your strengths and weaknesses if you know yourself well. Very good, very good. Thank you, guys. Okay, this question is really tricky because usually people think that the interviewer is interested to know a lot of personal stuff about you. And it's not just getting to know you as a person, but they want to relate. Let me just read the answer here and to continue. Then for your strength is to know your capabilities and how it will improve the organization. Okay, perfect. Again, they don't want just to know you as a human being. They want to see. They want to see if your strength is part of the competencies related to the job, and to see if your weakness is something related to the job. And regarding the weaknesses, they want to see if you have done good effort, to work on them. And there is another thing that, and this is part of having it as a tricky question. Most people will answer this question by saying, and they think this is the perfect answer, by saying, no, I don't have any weaknesses. I'm a perfect person. I have no weaknesses. And they are thinking, and this is how they make the interviewer feel cool and perfect about them. And the surprise is that it's actually the total opposite. And why is that? Usually all managers suffer if they hired an employee and this employee started doing some maybe mistakes or poor performance. And they went to sit with them for a performance review, and they started telling them, okay, there is a problem at this maybe section in your performance. And usually people who deny at all that they have any weaknesses will be as well in denial. They will refuse and reject feedback harshly. And usually, when I'm asking you as an interviewer, okay, tell me about your weaknesses, I want to make sure that you are a flexible person, you have self awareness, you understand yourself enough to be aware that you have some weaknesses. Nobody's perfect. You're not an angel. I'm not an angel. And doing this by realizing your mistakes and your flaws, and again, you don't realize it, just realize it, you realize it and you have a plan for it. Okay, so and another thing, part of this question I'm going to ask you, okay, have you been given feedback before by your manager, and how did you handle it? If you told me about your weakness, and maybe telling me, maybe I can't say no, like here J5 is writing, it's hard for me sometimes to say no. You have to be very smart about choosing which weaknesses you're going to share in the interview. Why? Don't just pick something very relevant to the job and tell me that it's your weakness. Tell me something that it's not like threatening to the job success or your role in the job. Be honest, don't lie about anything, but be smart as well. Don't just tell me something that's very important to the job and tell me, okay, this is my weakness. For example, a secretary maybe is asked to attend for an interview, and they are asking her, okay, tell us about your weakness. And she says, I hate talking to people. I need to work on this more. Can you imagine a secretary? She usually is like the front line. Everybody's talking to her. So to her, she's working on this, but me about it's very like alerting. Okay, she is going to be handling how she's going to be handling people all day long. So you have to be smart about what to say as your weakness, and you have to actually be having a plan to work on the weakness that you're telling me. Okay, maybe it's if let's give an example of something that's not related to the job specifically, and you're telling me I have a hard time saying no. I have a hard time saying no or rejecting requests. By the way, this kind of weaknesses will affect your performance. If you can't say no to anything at all, everybody's asking you for requests and you're saying, yes, okay, yes, I'll do it. Yes, I'll do it. So you will have no time to do everything. So let's say that this is irrelevant to the job and you said, okay, I have a problem saying no. How are you going to say that you have a problem saying no? Okay, one of my weaknesses that I'm working on and I've made a good progress is I can't turn down people. I love helping people. So sometimes it's hard for me to say no. But actually, because I know that this affects my performance, I started learning different ways in turning down some requests if I don't have the time, and being as well nice. And maybe I have some ideas of how can I help the person do the job themselves. Maybe I can give them tips or help them, or I can delegate. I can take the job and delegate it. So you told me you have a problem. You told me you were very aware of it. And you told me actually that you have took very active actions to understand how to handle it. And you are very smart about how you handled it. You are not losing or doing like maybe problems with your colleagues, but you are handling this in a very, very smart way through communication, through delegation. So actually you turned around this question to be a positive thing. You turned it down to be a positive things because you told me that you have a very good communication, negotiation, and delegation skills, and maybe teamwork. You don't want to turn down people because you love helping people. What do you think about this kind of answer? It's a question, as I'm telling you, it's a tricky one. It's checking if you are aware, if you can accept feedback, if you are working on your current issues. And the other part of it is related to the strengths. Your strengths should be relevant to the job as well. It's totally funny if I'm asking you, okay, tell me what are your strengths, and you're telling me something maybe related to football, for example, the same example I was telling last time. Okay, I have a very strong leg. I do a very good strikes, maybe in the field. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. You have to pick good cooker. Yes, exactly. Good cooker. You have to choose something really, really related to the job, since you have done your homework before by being prepared and expecting what is needed in this job. For example, if you are applying for maybe a secretary job, you're going to give an example by saying, okay, I am a very organized person. I have created maybe a filing system for another company. And you have to back up whatever you say during your interview with stories, with stories. At all the steps, all the questions, everything, you have to back it up with a story. So if you're telling me that you have a good organization skills or good communication skills, the interviewer usually will have in mind a question, okay, so what? Tell me something. Tell me, give me an example. So again, during your preparation phase, you have to be ready with stories to back up every single thing you say at the interview, whether it's a question, whether it's a competency, it's a skill. You have to give a story about why you are good at this thing. Okay. Another question that's usually asked at the interview is, okay, why should we hire you? Why you? Why should we hire you? And I'll leave like a minute for you guys to tell me, why do you think this question is being asked? Why should we hire you? You have like a minute to think about why, the question of why do we have to hire you, or why you, why not the other calibers? You have a minute to help me out here and think about why this question is being asked. Okay. Zenfuf Linda says to see if you are qualified for the position or not. Muhammad Hussein says, mention my values, which will be added to the organization. Like to gain more information about you. Thank you, guys. Okay, thank you, guys. This question usually is asked to throughout the interview. The interviewer, their mind, what's going on their mind is that they are thinking, is this the good match for the job or not? And by asking you this question, he's giving you, or she's giving you the chance to actually answer it explicitly. I want to know why you are the perfect fit. So I want to know what, if you think you are the perfect fit. And this question, this is the very direct question that you are asked to match between your skills and the job skills. And you have to put part of your answer related to the company itself, because later on there will be a question. They'll ask you, okay, why did you choose our company? So, like, if you want to mix the answer, you have to, in this question, the first question, okay, why should we hire you, to tell us about yourself. And in this question, you will relate between your skills. Between why do you see this company as a place that you want to join for their values and to match between your values and the company's values and to make it about the company. So, why should we hire you? Tell me more about, as an interviewee, tell me more about your success stories, what contribution you've done to your previous employers, and make it as well about stuff you know needed in this job and needed in this role and this company. Later on, right after this question, they'll ask you, okay, why did you choose to apply for us? And you have to show that you are aware about the values of the company and to make it a little bit about them by giving them some credit. Okay, I like that you value community service. And this is one of my values as well. And I'm sure that having this value in the company will give me the space to do more and to help the community more, for example. Moving forward to one of the questions that most people don't like because they don't know why it's being asked. The question is, okay, what do you have in mind for the coming 5 years in your career? Okay, this question, usually people or the interviewer asks it for two reasons. The first reason, okay, Hayam, I'll come back to your question because I'm gonna wrap up in my maybe 5 minutes, and I'm gonna start taking questions from you guys. So get ready with your questions in the chat and the Q&A because in maybe 5 minutes I'm gonna start taking your questions. Okay, so start thinking about the question that you want to write down. In 5 minutes, we'll move to this. Okay, going back to the question of how do you plan for yourself in the coming 5 years? As an interviewer, I want to see two things in your answer. The first thing, if your answer matches with the company's progress plan. And the second part of your answer should be revolving around if you have a plan. This is a very strategic kind of questions. Okay, now, if you stayed in my company for 5 years, are you going to be progressing with the company? Are you kind of aware where we're going, the direction of the company? Are you going to be on board? Do you share the same maybe plan for maybe the same plan that we will have in mind? Maybe the company's direction is to expand maybe in a specific market, and maybe you're working in the marketing field. Is your part of your plan will be compliant with the plan of the company? And the other part related to you, do you have even a plan? Because most people just go about for their job, working from 9 to 5, and that's it. No interest in doing anything extra. And this question, I really love to ask it because it gives me insights about how this person is thinking. Do they have a learning mindset? Do they have a plan for their career? Usually a successful person will have a plan for their career each year or each 2 years to have maybe a specific certificate, to have a specific ambitious to grow and to learn more, and maybe to get promoted to a more senior level in the company. So this question is very strategic, very good to tell more about what's the plan for yourself in your career and to match it with the company's plans as well. And you have to answer this question in chunks. For example, what's your plan for the 5 years? And you have to start the answer by saying that, okay, when I'm joining your company for the first maybe year, I'll be working on understanding very well the objectives and to working on them, and to start after being an expert in the company and in the objectives and in the work, I'll start going forward to help out my colleagues maybe, and the second year I'll be having plans for myself in the whole department, and to see if there is like my career path in the company. I'll start to work on my knowledge and skills, getting certificates, etc., to get there. Okay. Um, One of the parts I wanted to talk about is that how do you handle if you were asked about a gap in your CV in the interview? The interviewer asks you, okay, I can see that you have been working for this company for a couple of years, and then you left, and you joined another company afterwards with like maybe a 3 or 4 months gap. Don't lie about it, because the community of a job market is really connected, and usually people do a reference check, and if there's something, they will know about it. So it's better to tell about the truth, from like to hear about the truth from you. Don't lie about it again, but be smart in how you are telling this part. Don't start saying bad things about the employer. Don't say, okay, I have to leave because I couldn't take it anymore at this company, they are horrible. Don't say such answer. Okay, you have to be very smart, you have to be very specific, and if you were laid off, you can say that you were laid off and the reason was, you have to mention it very smartly. Maybe it was a poor performance in something. Say that, yes, I didn't continue my contract, for example, because there were some stuff in the performance, and these 4 or 5 months give me the chance to work on the gaps in my performance, and now I'm ready to start, I went there to the other company and I achieved a huge success at so and so and so. Again, this tip is never lie about it, but be smart about how you're going to tell it. I want to take a final question. And then if you have, guys, any questions, I have here a question from Hayam and another question up there. So start writing your questions. I'm going to take the final question here about your salary expectations. If you are asked to share your salary expectations, how do you answer it? The trick, thank you, I was just saying this question. Okay, how do you prepare for yourself when you are going for the interview? You have to make a market check. You have to know exactly if this role got market value, and usually we have some websites like Glassdoor and PayScale. It's giving you the average for the market from real people. Like real people go to the website and write down, okay, I got salary so and so for this job at this company. It's confidential, like they don't show the name, but they show the title and the company name. You can depend on this to check the market value. And usually when you're answering this question, you have two options: whether to give a range, like to say, okay, I take from 1,000 to 2,000, maybe Egyptian pounds, or to say that this is the first option, to answer with a range, or the second option is to like don't give ranges, just say, I know that each company got a different budget and it varies, so I have a negotiable salary based on the budget. And this option, you need to do it if you are not sure about how much is the salary, because now markets have huge gaps. Like I have a multinational company and I have a startup and I have a middle-sized company, and it really varies because the salary depends on different things. The role itself, the grade of the role, and the complexity of the role, and a lot of things gather to decide the budget, plus of course the company size. If I'm a startup, I'm not going to be able to pay you the maximum amount of salary on the pay scheme. You usually pay schemes or the ranges start from a minimum to a median to a maximum. A big company will pay the maximum, a middle-sized company will pay the median, and the minimum will be for startups. So you have to know the size of the company you're applying for and to know the market value. If you don't know any of this and you couldn't get the information, you need to be, if you need the job, if you really need the job and you don't have a job at hand, you need to be don't say a range, just say it's negotiable and I know you have a specific budget. But if you are at a job, if you are working at your current job and you have specific needs, you can say it. Okay, my range is from so to so, and always check if your current salary is matching with the market value. Now, quickly, I wanted to move forward to the last section after your interview. And let's very briefly say that at the end of the interview, if the interviewer asked you if you have any questions, you have to be ready with very smart questions to ask that is related to the job to show your interest and to know more about the company. For example, you can ask them questions like, can you tell me more about the team? Can you tell me more about your objectives for the coming year? Can you tell me more? Okay, ask some questions to give you insights about the company, because if they give you a job, if they gave you a job offer, you have to do some research, like they are going to ask about you, like do a reference check. You have to make some research about, you have to do some search to understand more about the culture of the company, to make sure that you are going to go and stay, not like maybe go there and find it's a very harsh culture and leave. So now let's say that your interview is done and you ask the interviewer, okay, tell me when do I have to expect an answer from you or a feedback? And they tell you 2 weeks. After you leave, there is a very important thing that you have to do is to send a thank you email to the interviewer. It's a very simple and generic one, by saying thank you for taking the time to interview me for this job and looking forward to hear from you. So let's say that after doing this, you have to forget totally about this interview, this whole thing. Why? Because I need you to be relaxed. If you were obsessed by, okay, when are they going to answer me? When are they going to give me feedback? Did I do well? Was I accepted? You will be obsessed and it's going to break your mind. You're not going to be able to focus on anything. And if they didn't answer you after the 2 weeks, you're going to be devastated. So you have to put yourself in a state of mind. Okay, I've done my job. I've done my homework. I've answered really well at the interview. And that's it. That's it for me. The result, it's not in my hands. Whatever happens, happens. And move forward. And usually I encourage everybody to do more than one interview, not just to have high expectations on one interview. Be ready and go and do different interviews with different companies to be relaxed. Once you are done, that's it, forget about it. You can, after 2 weeks, if they didn't get back to you, you can send them a follow-up email asking them about if there was a decision done related to this job role or not, and that you are looking forward to hear from them the final or feedback. And that's it. That's it. No obsession, no chasing, no stalking on LinkedIn, nothing at all. Okay. Now I finished my questions, and I'll take here a question from the chat. Okay, Hayam is asking, how can I increase my self-confidence when I talk? Okay, I hope I understand your question correctly, but usually confidence comes from being prepared. if you are prepared with your answers and you rehearsed it, it's a very good tip is to rehearse the answers. Write down your answers during the preparation phase. Write down your answers in a notebook, and everybody now got a mobile with a camera. Now put your camera and start answering the questions to hear yourself and know how it sounds, how your answers sound. Rehearse it, and when you rehearse it, you will on a camera, and after you finish the recording, you will check how you looked, how was your body language, how did you talk, everything. And you can start giving yourself remarks and comments on how you look like, how when your sound when your voice is hesitant at one of the questions, especially the tricky questions. And you can ask your friends. You can do a rehearsal with your friends to give them maybe questions to ask you, and you get ready with the answers, and to start recording it and rehearsing with your friends, and get them to give you comments on how you're performing. This really increases your self-confidence very much. And not only rehearsing, but you have to have a mindset that I know that I'll do whatever I can in doing this, and then the result is not in my hands. I just have control over what I do till the last point of doing the interview, and that's it. So you have to have a relaxed mind, and don't really be obsessed about anything. And this, I believe, will increase your self-confidence, Hayam. I hope I answered your question. Okay. Zenfuflinda is asking, they might ask, why do you want this job, your motivation to this job? Okay, let's say that you didn't mention it during your first question of tell me about yourself, because as I was telling you at the beginning of the session, usually this question, the very first question of give me an introduction about yourself, is the place where you put down why do you have a passion for this job. And let's, for example, say you didn't say this. They will ask you, why do you want this job? You have, again, to mix between the competencies and the skills you have and the job itself and the company. I want this job because this fulfills my skills. The skills I have is 1, 2, 3, and this is the perfect job for me. I'm doing it really well. And you start telling success stories. I have achieved 1, 2, 3, and your company, I checked the values of the company, and it's matching with values I have in life. You have to make always a question like this. You have to divide it between what skills you have and the values you have, and the company as well, and the job role. Always relate between the two. Karim is asking, what is the best answer to a question? Can you afford the company in some crisis? I love this question. Thank you, Karim, for asking it. Well, this question can reflect two things. Whether the company wants to make sure that you are flexible, or they already know they are going to have a crisis, and they want to make sure that you can be part of the team on board when they have the crisis. Okay, let me tell you something. I'll share with you one of the questions I ask for people in the interview. Okay, usually when I finish the interview, I ask them, okay, tell me on what factors are you going to be basing your choice or decision to join the company. For example, if I gave you an offer and another company gave you the same offer, how are you going to choose? I love this question, to be honest, and I ask it to everybody because it gives me insights. What are the priorities do they have in life? People usually will say something from, okay, I'm going to check on the financial offer. This is the main factor I depend on. or to tell me, okay, I need to learn more, and as long as I have the chance to learn and grow and expand my skills and stretch my knowledge and everything, I'm going to be staying there, even if it's not matching with the other financial offer. Other people have different answers, but I'm telling you, usually I want to know what is the main motivator for this person. Is it learning? Is it money? Whatever. So this question can mean one of these. Maybe they want to check if you only value money in the offer, or they have a crisis. So you have to answer yourself first before you answer this question. Is it money? Is the only motivator you have to join a job? Or is it the culture? Or is it the learning chances that you can have at this place? And you have to, after you answer based on what you really want, if it's money, okay, you can tell them maybe money. No, I can't afford it. No, I'm not going to be able to stay if you have a crisis, and it's not because I only adore money, but maybe I have commitments. So at this question, you have to be very honest, and ask them, and you have to make some search to make sure that they know exactly how to handle their financials, because many of the startups fail because the CEOs didn't know how to handle financials. So you have to ask them in return, okay, tell me, how do you handle your plan maybe for the coming 3 years? Do you have investors? Is the company profitable? And do your homework in reading and checking and searching about the company itself to make sure that you're not going to a place and it's going to be failing after you join with like maybe a couple of 3 months. And another question you can ask, okay, so if after you answer their question, ask them back, okay, what are your plans to get out of a crisis if you were into one? If God willing, something happened out of control and you are in a crisis, how do you handle it? Do you lay off people? Do you ask them to maybe get 50% less than their salaries? How do you handle it? You need to understand them as well to make a sound decision of joining them or not. Karim, I hope I answered your question. Well, okay, Sarah, what do you mean by loyalty? Can you explain? Can you explain? I don't really get it.
Hi.
Hi.
No, it's yeah, it's only a follow-up of that question. I thought that they want to know if you will be loyal to their company if something happens. So that was my first uh, thoughts of that. Yeah.
Part of it, yes, but it's not. It's really hard to decide if you're going to be loyal to a company you didn't join yet. Okay,
Of course.
loyalty really needs to be built throughout time. So I believe this question will only reflect if you have, if your only factor to decide is the financials, and this is kind of not the best question to ask if you want to check on an employee's loyalty, for example, because it reflects that the company is not ready for crisis. They need to have a plan, and in case they have if they have a crisis, they want to make sure that people will be on board with them. But if, for example, I have really hard commitments, I have kids at school and I can't pay them for the school, how am I gonna stay loyal? Do you get me at this point? Loyalty, how I'm going to pay for my kids at school and just stay loyal to the company if the company cannot be having a good plan to save itself from a crisis. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you
You
so
want,
much
you
for
want
the satisfying answers. Yeah. Um,
you think it's do you agree with me on this, or do
yes,
you have
yes, of
another
course.
idea?
Yeah, of
Okay,
course, of course.
very good.
Thank you so much for everything you did. I believe I have the last question, and then we can wrap this up. So my question is maybe prior the interview. Let's say if something happens, there was an emergency, or you got sick before the interview. Is it possible that you contact the HR team and let them your situation and how this will reflect your image to them?
Okay. Specifically at this time, if you're like, God save everybody, but if you got maybe COVID, It's no joking. If you got COVID, you can go. Let's say that you have a flu or something that is like not maybe contagious or something. If you are really, really in a very bad situation and you can't go to the interview, you have to be honest and call the interview and ask them to reschedule and tell them that you want to be at your best performance and to be at your best condition because you really care about this job and you don't want to maybe have bad impression by medications maybe get people to be very sleepy or not focused. And you just tell them, okay, I have a very bad flu and I can't perform well and I really care to leave the best impression. Can we reschedule? And they will tell you if it's possible or not. Some companies will have the flexibility, and other companies will have a very tight timeline to do the interviews. They are in a rush to fill the position because usually a vacant position means lost money. So they will be honest with you and they will tell you if they can reschedule or not. Um, Usually it's not the impression that you leave on them through this call if you ask to reschedule, because if you went there and you're really tired, it's gonna be a worst impression. So just call the HR, ask them if it's possible to reschedule, and they're going to be honest with you saying, no, we don't have this flexibility. I'm sorry. So if you care about the job, you need to take all the medications and drink all the coffee and everything to make sure that you will be really sharp and focused in the interview. And that's it.
Yep. Thank you so much for that. So I guess if there is no further questions, we can end this session. Thank you again for the impressive talk. I'm always surprised the way you talk and the valuable tips that you give.
Thank
And I would also thank you for everyone for your attendance. And I hope everyone has learned many valuable tips today, as I did. And they will only wait for their moment to shine in the near future during the interview. So for those who missed our last sessions, make sure to review them in YouTube channel and submit the assigned quizzes and the final exam as well to receive your certificate. So this is the end of our presentation. I give you dates from February 26th to the final stop of our journey with Miss Yusra. Please stay faithful and follow us on YouTube channels and Facebook groups for more updates and events. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a nice day and goodbye. Stay safe.
you. Goodbye.